Hey everyone, Base DS here, and welcome back to more Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1. So, we're just taking a bit of a small detour on the way to Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2, but I figured I would go ahead and cover this real quickly, especially considering the fact that I did go ahead and allude to this earlier in the playthrough. Plus, I figured this was content that was exclusive to one version of the game, so I figured, why the hell not? Let's go ahead and cover it too. So before we get into what I'm actually going to be doing here, we actually need to talk about the game's development history. So Episode 1 of Sonic 4 was released in October of 2010. It was initially delayed from its original release month of August of that year, and the reason for that delay was because in April of 2010, Microsoft had a program called Partner.net, and basically it was a program where people could play alpha and beta builds of games and give input back to the developers and everything. And by some odd chance, someone ended up finding Episode 1 on Partner.net and leaked everything all over the internet. I mean, the Sonic sites were all over it, videos were popping up on YouTube, and needless to say, Sega was pretty mad about the whole thing. Yeah, they weren't too happy about their game getting leaked and all that. But because of that, and when people saw the gameplay footage, obviously there were a few things that they were definitely miffed about. For one, the floaty physics that I mentioned earlier, of course, really, I have no problem with them. I'm used to it. Sonic's running speed took a bit longer to where you wouldn't see his full wheel of feet when he was reaching top speed and everything. You would rarely see that in the beta version. And some zones had different level design in some areas, so like, it would originally be a lot tougher in that area. Like, for example, the wall and the drill wall, both in Lost Labyrinth Zone and Mad Gear Zone, those were actually faster in the beta versions, and as such, they were a lot tougher to get through. So, needless to say, some of the changes that Sega did to the game was made to make it a little bit easier. But one thing that was also changed after the leak was there were two acts within the game that some people didn't really think too likely of, and that was, of course, Act 2 of Casino Street Zone and Act 2 of Lost Labyrinth Zone. So in the playthrough, when we went through those two zones, Act 2 of Casino Street Zone had the playing cards, and of course, Act 2 of Lost Labyrinth Zone had you running through the darkness and lighting the torches that were situated on the wall with the torch that was in Sonic's hand. But even though the original levels were removed from the console versions, they were retained in the mobile ports of Episode 1, and that's actually what we're going to be covering here right now. So, first things first, we'll just move on over to Casino Street Zone, and we'll go ahead and start up Act 2. So for the mobile version of the game, basically you are trapped in an arena, and in order to get through, you have a flipper that pretty much acts as a gate. It prevents you from getting to the goal. So essentially what you need to do is, since you're locked in this arena, you need to amass 100,000 points. So that means you need to continuously keep going into the slot machine, and as such, you'll rack up points that way. But so far, we're not doing too hot in terms of our gambling luck here. We've gotten 2 Eggmans in a row. So, okay, easy. Okay, we're going down to the lower level here. Yeah, there's the flipper that blocks our path. So, nothing we can do about that until we meet the score criteria. Okay, well, at least we're getting something good now. But yeah, I can understand why they would change this one. I will admit it can get a little bit repetitive, But as for Lost Labyrinth Zone Act 2 for the mobile version, I really think they should have just left that version in. If not for the Xbox version, but especially for the Wii and the PlayStation 3 version. But I'll get into that when we actually get to Act 2 of Lost Labyrinth Zone. And are we actually getting a jackpot here? Oh, yes we are. Okay, I'll take it. Whoa, okay, that is a lot of points there. Alright, we're almost out of here. Please do not tell me. Really, Eggman? Really? Okay, you know what? Screw it. First chance I get, I'm gonna go super if I can in here. Nah, well, you know what? It doesn't matter. We got the 100,000 points, so let's go ahead and get out of here. As soon as the slot machine stops. But seriously, though, I have never gotten that many Eggmans in one playthrough of this zone. Seriously. But with that, we've got Act 2 of the mobile version of Casino Street Zone done and out of the way. So, granted, as I said, I can see why they removed this from the console version. It can get a bit repetitive, but it does have its points in some areas, I'm guessing. But granted, I will admit I do like the card gimmick that was in the console version of Act 2 a whole lot better. And we get an extra life, and that is a big score total there. We essentially ended up doubling the initial total of what it was asking, so... But anyway, now let's go ahead and move on over to Lost Labyrinth Zone. So now, if you'll remember, in the console version of Act 2, we had two instances where Sonic was inside of a minecart, and both of those were automated sequences. The only thing you had control of was when Sonic could jump. But for the original Act 2 that was planned to be in the game, Sonic is in a minecart the entire act. And so, as I'm doing here for the mobile version, if this was on the Wii and the PlayStation 3 version, you would basically have to tilt the controller continuously to get the minecart to move. In actuality, this was also the way to control the special stages as well originally. So yeah, just imagine how hard those would have been if that had been the only method to get through them. But yeah, I just love this whole act here. It's just so fun to play through. Of course, one thing that you don't see in this version that was in the original console version, if you tilted the controller too much in the other way, Sonic actually holds onto the minecart for dear life if it's completely upside down. But hey, we got Super Sonic, so let's go ahead and abuse it here while we can. Might as well. But I will say though, I seriously wish this version had remained in the console ports of the game. I really do. So let's come ahead and go back here because we have a switch waiting for us to hit. And that'll get a spring to appear. Whoa, no, easy there, easy there. Okay. Careful, careful. There we go. And we just ran over Bubbles with a minecart. Okay, we are getting towards the end of the act now. Oh, easy there. Alright. Okay, wait for that to open up there. And with that, we've reached the end of the act. So this little minecart joyride is unfortunately over. But nonetheless, I still enjoy it. As I said earlier, I kind of wish this had stayed in the console version, if not the Xbox, but definitely the PlayStation 3 and the Wii version, especially the Wii, considering how back then they were all on the motion control, whatnot, and everything, so I feel like it would have been a good fit, but unfortunately, both this act and Act 2 of Casino Street Zone are mobile exclusive. The only way you can play these acts is if you have the mobile version, or if you're on the hacker side of things and you have your Wii modded, it is possible to go ahead and actually find the beta for the Wii version. It actually ended up getting released on the Japanese Wii Shop channel the day it came out. They ended up uploading the beta version instead of the actual final build, so it's at least floating out there somewhere. So hey, if you got a modded Wii and you would rather have a console experience of the beta version of the game, which essentially the mobile version is the beta version at this point, but still, if that's something you're interested in, then hey, it's out there somewhere, so feel free to go ahead and find it. But with that, that'll go ahead and end things here, so until next time, thank you all for watching. I hope you're enjoying things so far, and I'll see you all again when we get to Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2.